Okay. Alrighty, guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. This is a quick 30-minute PD, pop-up PD on creating some digital exit tickets for your kids. Again, the slideshow presentation is here for you. We also put that link in the chat. So let Miss Jeanette know if you have any questions. She'll get you that link too. So everything that I'm doing in here is going to be clickable from the presentation. So you want to make sure you get that link if possible. But again, we're just going to take a look at a couple of options for you guys as far as digital exit tickets go. Okay. So some things to remember, guys. I'm not usually a huge fan of showing you all these kind of tools in such a quick time because you're not ever going to master all 5 of these tools or 6 or 7 or however many I'm going to show you today. What I want you to remember is I'm going to show you a lot today. What my hope is, my goal for today is that you're going to find 1 or 2 things that you want to try out with your kiddos to kind of spice up those exit ticket options. Maybe they're not completing certain lessons for you, or you're finding that the kids just are struggling with one thing. Maybe there's something that you see today that you're like, you know what, let me try that this week or next week and see if that engages my kids either in a live learning opportunity or in those exit tickets that you put into your classroom. Okay, some things to think about though. Some of these are going to require students to set up an account, which means you are going to have to do a little bit of training on your end, making sure they know to sign in with Google, join your class on those different platforms. So that may make a difference whether or not you want to use them or not. So keep that in mind. And when you see that little caution sign here on the presentation, that's what that signifies, is it's going to require the kids to sign in with Google and join that class in order to get to that digital exit ticket. Okay. All right, so first and foremost, I know a couple of you guys have already been here this week. We did the Google Forms as part of our video lessons, but I did want to come back to this a little bit and let you know that adding some quick questions into a Google form gives you just another way to kind of spice up the learning a little bit. So you'll see here, you're going to get to try out a Google form. And of course, if you like this Google form, you'll get to click here and get your own copy. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like to build a Google form exit ticket. And I used some science lessons that were provided by the wonderful Lori Stiles, which I think she's in the room. Whoop, whoop. So I just took a little bit of that content and I embedded it into a couple of different things. All right, so an exit ticket using a Google form is as simple as building it. I do include a name here, but you guys can, when you create forms, can turn on capturing email addresses. But again, when you capture email addresses, kids have to know that they've got to be signed in, and we love our Google products, but that's a little challenge. So I turned that off on this form just so everybody could get to it easier. And then of course, I've created what's called sections on this digital exit ticket. So I'm kind of pacing the kids through this lesson. So it makes them answer a couple of questions and then click next. That's another benefit of these kind of exit tickets, is we pace the kids through instead of showing them all 5 or 6 questions at one time. I want them to do something, answer a question, and then click next by creating those sections. So they'll enter their name, they'll put their number in here and then click next. All right, so I want to just kind of preview, do you agree or disagree with these statements? I just downloaded that slide. Again, it's just a thoughtful process. If I wanted to capture their information, I could add a question here, but I do want them to see this slide. Sometimes our kids are just skipping through things and not seeing it. So I thought this would be kind of a fun way to pace it. And then here, I want them to watch this video before they answer a quick question. So I embedded the video inside of the Google form. Now, what's important to remember about a Google form when you're working with them is it requires you to use YouTube videos. So if you're a little worried about putting those instructional videos that you guys are creating on YouTube, don't be, because we can put them up there, we can have them unlisted so that you can easily put them into a form so that you can pace these lessons a little bit. All right, and then when they are done watching the video, they can click next, and then they can answer that question. What's one thing you learned today? So they're kind of getting all this information, clicking it through a little bit, and then answering that final question. And then clicking submit. All right. And that will capture the time, stamp, and date of this digital exit ticket along with their name and S number. Okay, so super easy, super fun way of doing that. And then of course, I'm going to show you guys here in Schoology what that can look like as far as an assignment. So here I have taken that beautiful form that you guys saw, and I'm going to click on that here. And I can embed any kind of media inside of an assignment or a page. So build it as a Google product, embed it inside of that page, and a Google form is one of those items that embed super well in a page.
I have a question about
Sure.
that. If you set up the Google form to not require their student email, um, and you embed it like you just did here, if they don't see any of the other stuff like our welcome slide that's required on our on our like homepage, will they still be able to see this?
They should if you turn that off, because what a Google form does, if it's collecting email, it's making them sign in. Okay, but if you turn that off and add the name and S number, they should see this without any problem, even if they're signed in incorrectly.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so you guys are asking about embedding items, and if you have access to my slideshow, let me just move this one over real quick. I have added a video tutorial on how to embed that, but I'll show you real quick where that is. Okay, so just in case y'all need to go back and look at this. So anytime you build a page, you build an assignment, or however you want to do this, if you want to embed content into those kind of Schoology things, there's two ways that you can do it. The first way and the easiest way is if you grab a hold of the links. Let me see if I can grab that link real quick. Go to Insert, go to Image or Media, and then from the web, you can click on media and then insert your link to anything. This is a YouTube video. This might be a Quizlet that you have. Maybe you want them to go to a Quizlet website, things like that. That is how you can easily embed websites inside of your page. Okay. Now you'll notice here when I create these kind of embedded features, let me X this out so you can see it. I also provide additional links, because you mentioned sometimes the kids don't see it. They get the 401 error or they get an error. I like to kind of dummy proof this a little bit, for lack of better terms. I put the link here so kids can actually click on the link and get to the form if they're having trouble, or they can scroll to the bottom, and sometimes I even attach a link here, and I'll show you that a couple of ways. But if you want to embed it, that's how you do it. But I always like to include the direct link to that form somewhere just in case. Okay? All right, that's a good question. All right. So the next one we're going to take a look at is the Schoology assessment. Some of you guys have already started using that, which is really great, but I wanted to remind you that you don't have to build a complicated assessment. For a digital exit ticket, think about building a one-question assessment that the kids have to do. Make it simple, make it easy, and make it something that's building on that video that you showed them, but it's just this one question that the kids can complete for that day to get that quick exit ticket activity. All right, so let's take a look at what that does. So inside of Schoology, all I did was I went to Add Materials and created an assessment. Okay, once you kind of create all of the settings for that question and for that assessment, you can start building questions into an assessment. So I want you to think outside the box here. Your assessments don't have to be bulky. Again, 1 or 2 of these questions make a perfect exit ticket for your kiddos. And what I used was the label image option. So I just took the image that was given to us on that beautiful slideshow that our ISTs are producing, and I uploaded the image. I added some directions. I even put a video in here, okay? So I used that same fun little embed video option. I'll show you guys how to do that too in just a moment. Uploaded the picture, and here it is. And when you do a question like this, you have to add these little response boxes to the picture, and then you drag them where you want the kids to put their responses. So you have to insert a response box for every place on the image. And then you create your labels here that you want to give, that you want the kids to use on the image. And then you set up the correct answer. So you'll scroll down, and all you do is you drag and drop the labels in the correct location. Now, with items like this that require kids to get these into some kind of correct order, you want to make sure that on these images that you create a partial match. So it will actually count however many they get right versus and how many they get wrong. Okay, so even the scoring type is a partial match here, and what it will do is it'll tell you how many they get right of this on this label, okay? And then you just click save. All right. And then that's really basically it for that activity. You'll make sure the submissions are enabled. Kids are just going to do that one activity, and that is a really great exit ticket for your kiddos. Okay, so what I did here is we went over that very quickly, but if you love it and you're thinking, you know what, that's what I need for my kiddos, there's a complete tutorial from start to finish on how to create a label image activity in Schoology. All right. Okay, we have also done Edpuzzle before. I did a kind of pop-up PD, but one of our challenges is our kids are not really watching those instructional videos. When it is really important that the kids watch your video from start to finish, I would highly encourage you to use Edpuzzle as a digital exit ticket for the day. This will make the kids join your Edpuzzle class, watch the video, and you can capture a couple of clicks along the way. So for those of you that are not familiar with Edpuzzle, you're going to take your instructional videos and you're going to put them up on YouTube. And once they're up on YouTube, you can actually put them inside of Edpuzzle. And this is what it will look like. Now this is a fake video. I just kind of grabbed one, but think about this being you giving your instruction for the day. And I really want my kids to be able to watch it. They'll play the video, and then once they get to the question, it'll ask them a multiple choice question here, and they have to answer it before they can go on to the next part of your video. So this is a really great tool when those videos are just imperative or critical for them to watch, okay? Now, remember when I told you on these pop-up PD slides, when you see this little caution sign, it's going to require the kids to join your Edpuzzle class. So you want to make sure that you feel pretty comfortable with getting them to Edpuzzle, having the kids create a student account, and then join your classes. And I have a full tutorial on Edpuzzle as well, which is right here. That's going to take you from start to finish, what it looks like when you want to use Edpuzzle for your classroom.
Can teachers make a class if they have their kids' emails, if they have their students' emails?
I wish that was true. No, unfortunately, you can't import rosters. Jeanette, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I was able to do that.
Yeah, no, that would be nice, but
yes, I
no.
wish it was. Yeah, but unfortunately right now, until the rostering can happen in Schoology, we're not real sure how that works. So what I've been encouraging teachers to do is set up and create a class in Edpuzzle for each period and have your kids join that specific class. Okay, so that may be a little instructional video. It might be something you want to do in one of your live learning one day, is have everybody get in and join your Edpuzzle class, and then they'll see their first assignment sitting on their dashboard. Okay, so it is a little bit of a setup piece for you, but I think it's well worth the setup, especially if you're using quite a bit of instructional videos in your classroom. Okay. Jeanette, anything you want to add so far? Everything so far so good in those questions?
Yeah, no, everybody's happy. It looks like it.
Yay. Okay. All right. Okay. Kind of thinking outside the box, when we want to really get a litmus test of where our kids are in terms of the lessons. Throwing out something fun like a Kahoot or a quizzes. I know a few of you guys are into Gimkits. I know a couple of campuses have bought it. I chose to showcase quizzes here because it's been one of my tried and true favorites. It's a great way to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of engagement with your kids. They love to play it. You can use it in your live learning, or you can use it asynchronously and post it as a homework. So quizzes will let you do live games or assign it as homework. And I'll be all honest, I don't care how many times my kids take these quizzes. As long as they're taking it and as long as they're enjoying it, I'm getting the data in the background. So I highly encourage you, if you want them to get that data in the background, use quizzes. And yes, Victoria, they added that oral admin feature. It'll read the questions for them. So that was a really great addition to quizzes. So if you've never tried it before, I encourage you to click here. What it's going to do is it'll show you what it looks like that the kids will actually be able to do. If they're signed into quizzes, it'll put their name there. If they're not signed into quizzes, they'll have to enter their name. So it's a teach piece. If you want credit for today, you need to put your first and last name so that I know that it's you, okay? And then they can decide if they want their sound effects, things like that. And then of course, here's the read aloud feature if they want it read to them. And then they can click start, and they're going to get to compete with everybody who you have given this quizzes to. So they get to compete against everybody in the class at any time. So they'll hit start game. And some of the updates that they've done to quizzes is these power ups. So if kids are doing really, really well, they'll get power ups and streaks and things like that, which is perfect. Okay, so play it, kind of see what you think. Love the little memes. And for my English teachers out there, you can imagine how much fun you could do creating your own memes. Use it as a fun activity at the beginning of the week and have kids create memes for you, and then use those memes inside of a quizzes one time. Take them, download them, build those memes in there, and then you could actually use some of your kids' memes inside of quizzes. So a great way to kind of build on an activity. All right. Another beautiful thing inside of quizzes, guys, is there's a nice data report. You'll be able to pull up a report of any game, and you'll be able to see the data in quizzes and look at who went in, what time they took the quiz, and what their best score was. If you leave it as unlimited attempts, like they can take it as many times as you want, you can compare scores of first attempt, best attempt, last attempt. So that's why I say I don't mind leaving it unlimited. If the kids want to play it 3 and 4 different times, I don't care, because I can actually look at the data by those 3 things. All right. Now this is kind of a new one. I know some people out there are like Wiser Me. That's kind of similar to GoFormative, but I'm really liking the GoFormative tool as just kind of one of those quick, different type of elements to get kids maybe a little engaged. But I do put the caution sign here because just like Wiser Me and things like that, it does require you to do a little bit of setup in the background, creating a class, making sure the kids sign in correctly, and then they get access to these fun little online worksheets, or assignments. And they've got some pretty neat little features in here. So if you want to try it out, you'll just click on the top link. And this is going to take me into my GoFormative. You're going to have to create a teacher account, sign in with Google, create a teacher account, and then I'll kind of show you what I created here. I borrowed this one from one of the GoFormatives that were already created. I brought it in. So I just put Friday review activity. I can insert images. I can add text if I want. So can you see how you can take slides now that kids may have had some trouble working through and breaking those slides down into kind of sections? And then you can even put videos in here, and then you can create some quick answers. There's multiple choice, short answer, true, false, multiple selection, and even show your work. So there's these free type of questions that you can build into this site that kids can get to and then answer. These he created a short answer, but it wouldn't be a problem to do multiple choice because then you can actually select right or wrong answers, kind of like a Google form. And then of course, once you have it created, you have the ability to assign it. I created just a pop-up PD class. And then when you're in there, you can, and then view responses. So as kids are in there and they're doing the work, you can actually watch the progress happening, which is really neat, or you can just kind of come back and check which kids have gotten in here, which kids have completed what, and then get a little bit of a report from GoFormative, okay? Okay. I also put the help information here. If this is something that you're like, hey, I like that, I like the setup of this, I want to take a look at it, how can I go about getting that started? And of course, always communicating with your coaches. Now I did want to throw out a couple of more. It's not that we are just throwing everything against the wall to make it stick, right? But thinking about some of these other tools maybe you're familiar with and trying to kind of spice some things up. Kahoots are always nice. I put the quiz in there. I meant to put Gimkit there instead of quizzes. You could do Flipgrid. Those are fun. But again, the Flipgrid, I believe, requires kids to set up an account, so you'll have to think a little bit about that. If you're in your live learning and you want to get some information and some maybe quick checks, think about things like a Nearpod. Nearpod is great. You can put it into any slideshow you want now and add some fun interactions. I did that this week too as a session, so you'll want to check that out if you missed it. Socrative is another great one. You can have your kids join your Socrative room and you can throw out true, false, multiple choice, and open-ended questions as you're going through your presentation, and kids can answer questions based on what you ask them. Or you can set up quizzes to give your kids to do as you go through the lesson. And then of course, Mentimeter, you guys have done these in a lot of trainings. Don't forget that that one's out there because you can ask 3 questions and kids can join that Menti. I believe though, one of the questions will have to be enter your name or you won't know who's in there, but it's really just more for a litmus test. You're not really gonna be able to pull a lot of data with Menti or Poll Everywhere. Those are just really kind of quick tests. I just wanna get the pulse of the room. I don't really care about the attaching a data to a particular person's name. All right, so again, some fun, quick ideas, maybe hopefully 1 or 2 of these sparked an interest for you today. All right. All right, guys, so are there any questions? I know that was fast and furious. Again, you're not going to be an expert in any one, just hopefully you found 1 or 2 that you liked.
Yes, earlier you had, go ahead.
Jasmine, go ahead.
All right. Earlier you had said if we had access to these slides, where would we get access to this? Like,
All right, let me jump back in here and I'm going to put that back up. That little bit.ly right there is what you'll go to, and all of these links are inside of that slideshow.
Thank you.
And on the first one, when you were doing Google Forms and you said you could embed it as either an assignment or as a page. If you embed it as an assignment, does the student have to click submit assignment?
As long as you don't, you have to turn off enable submissions. Okay, so when you create an assignment inside of Schoology, let me bring that one back up so I can show you. Here we go. That's a little bit of a tricky one. So let's see, I think it was this first one, right?
So is that one maybe better to just do then as a page?
You can. The only reason I do it as an assignment is if you want to grade. Like you want a column in your Schoology gradebook for the form that you can later go back in and add a grade.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not communicating.
No, it
Schoology.
doesn't communicate.
That's one. Okay. Okay.
Yep, you're right. So I did put this one in as a page, but if you want it as a grade and you need a column in your Schoology gradebook for it, you would want to use the assignment. And then just make sure that you don't enable submissions.
And enable submissions is?
Let me bring this one, add assignment. Down here, submissions are enabled. You'll turn that off. And that way.
Are you showing your screen?
Yeah.
Oh, am I not showing it?
No, yeah, we're not seeing that. We're seeing your slide.
Oh, you know what?
There you go.
There it is. Okay, let me bring it up again. Okay, so add assignment.
Mm-hmm.
This little guy is defaulted to on when
Gotcha.
when you embed. So if you don't want that, you have to turn it off.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And can you do that with rubrics also? Like if the kids are giving speeches and we just want to use the rubric where we can click on it.
You want to disable the submission? Yep.
So we just put it in as an assignment. Do we embed because I'm creating the rubric in Schoology in the group section. So would it be add assignment or would it be embed? Add assignments?
It would be add assignment.
Okay, and then just put them, this is for grading purposes only, and disable, okay.
Yeah, if they're not turning anything in on this assignment, they're not going to upload anything to this assignment, and they're not doing a Google assignment, then you want to take that submissions off. The submissions really is it's like a little holding cell for them to be able to attach something to the assignment.
Okay. Okay.
And do you recommend that with, we're doing their SSR journal and they're just doing one pager. So each week they're going to go in and add something. And with that being said, we don't want them to submit it. So do you recommend doing that as well?
I do. You might want to try it out one day just to kind of see what happens. But honestly, that's the only way I've seen around adding an assignment, but not having the kids have to hit that submit piece over there. It shouldn't.
Can you show me that again, where that little icon was? I'm sorry.
Sure. And when you go to add materials and you go to add assignment, and Jeanette, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm doing anything not right, but here's the submissions enabled. What that does is think of it as kind of like a little filing cabinet that requires kids to do something. They have to upload something, they have to attach something, or they have to create something before it will actually submit.
What if I don't see that? So I see the little individual assign lock icon, and then I don't have those 4 icons. It just skips to the items will be unpublished and grade statistic disabled. Where is that? Is that because I haven't set a due date on it?
No, it should be there. It should be there when you create an assignment. Did you add a Google assignment to it?
Yes.
You can't. Okay, that's the disclaimer there. Once you add a Google assignment, that's the submission. So it disables the submission piece, if that makes sense. So because you've already added a Google Drive assignment, that's the submission. So that's why this goes away.
Okay. So if whatever Google thing we add, we can't do it. Okay. I'm sorry if you said that earlier.
No, I didn't. I'm glad you asked. But yeah, once you add a Google Drive assignment, this goes away because then the Google Drive assignment has to be submitted. It kind of already puts the file there for them. Kind of by default, it submits it. Okay, good question. All right, guys. Well, it is 5 o'clock, and Jeanette put that link back in the chat too if you needed it. But don't forget to reach out to us if you need anything. And I'm using the Zoom attendance for this, so I've captured everybody there. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
guys.
Do you mind if I ask one more question?
Thank you.
And can I ask